Welcome back to the Commanders Declassified podcast, your source for the best Washington Commanders football talk out there. Guys, this is the post game reaction. We just played a tough one against Philadelphia at home, and we fell short yet again 38-31. Much better performance overall by the football team. But Eric, I'll start with you. First impressions after another kind of close, tough loss to the Eagles.
It's just even if they'd won this team, it wouldn't have changed my opinion on how things need to go for the rest of the year. It's just another case of playing to the level of who you're playing. You're playing up or playing down depending on who you're up against. It's just a sign of an inconsistent team, an average team, and a team that's going nowhere. So I mean, they didn't get the win today. It was a fun game to watch for the most part. Again, the defense, if you score 31 points, you should win a game in the NFL. It's just the case. But you give up 38. Fifth time this year, the defense has given up 30 points or more. So really, it's just doesn't change my opinion of how things are. It's not a moral victory. The last game kind of felt like a moral victory because we hung in there on the road, came back, had a nice drive to end it. The defense was just unable to hang. And Sam got outdueled by a superior quarterback. I mean, I think, right now Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Howell. As good as Howell played, he played very well. He had the interception and missed a couple of throws, but for the most part, I mean, he was on point today. And again, you're not doing him any favors by dropping it back 50 times again, but it is what it is. He kept the sacks to a minimum. The only sack they gave up was definitely not on the quarterback. It was, Wiley getting beaten like a drum.
One sack.
And Wiley just got destroyed. He had no chance on the play. As soon as he hit his plant foot, it was coming out of his hand. That's all LE needs to make the case for Jacoby Brissett. But anybody who actually watched the game is going to tell you Sam Howell played pretty well today. But it's blow this thing up. I'm done. I'm done with this team. I don't care who gets traded this week.
Yeah, Mike, close loss, much better performance. What were your thoughts?
I mean, the first thing I want to just start off with is I don't understand the overall logic of this team playing good on defense one week and playing trash on offense, but then a game like today happens where the offense is seemingly on fire and the defense just can't get it together. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the Eagles offense. Like, I get it. They are Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith offense. You stop those three, you should be able to win. But guess what? For the second time this season, they didn't. The first game, they gave up about 5 big plays. Today, they gave up another 4 probably, I think, including a wide-open touchdown. So it's like it's hard for me to even talk about the game because there's just so much happening. Like the offense, they look really good today. Like if they play like this against the Giants and Bears, they win those games. The defense was out there man last week. They gave up 2 big plays, but for the most part, they played out there man. And today, they just look awful.
Well, the Giants' offense is terrible. That has a lot to do with it, too. The Giants' offense is a joke. They're in a 10-10 barn burner right now again this week with the Jets as we speak. So, I wouldn't put too much stock in the defensive performance last week.
But still, like I said, it's just the logic behind it. I can't get with it. That's why I agree with your 2 headlines at the bottom. This is the Ron Rivera farewell tour. We have to blow it up. Like it's over. Like I don't even want to go to the playoffs anymore at this point. Like I'm sick of it. I just need it to be over. I'm done.
Yeah. What this game showed you is that with better coaching, there can be production, but we don't have better coaching. We've got coaching that constantly gets in its own way. We put Emmanuel Forbes on A.J. Brown the first game, and he just absolutely got abused. And it was one of the games that led to, the loss, but also him getting benched. So we put him back on there today and immediately gives up a big play touchdown. I just don't understand this group. It doesn't seem like they really are focused on wanting to win. We go to the offense. The offense there's no other way to say it. They looked excellent for most of the day after, for most of the year where they looked just out of sorts. And we've been talking on this show about using the quick passing game, running the football, using play action more. Well, we did all those things in the first half, excuse me. And what do you know? We gave up no sacks. We moved the football. We scored almost at will. And then we kind of went away from it, went all pass. We still scored, but just that it didn't move as much. We gave up one sack late in the football game, which tells me Eric Bieniemy was never worried about the sack issue. He never cared. And we talked about it, maybe 2 pods ago. How can you not care about something that is one of your biggest weaknesses? And this shows me that when they finally actually decided to do something about it, they could. But, it's too little too late. We're at 8 games now into the season, and you guys are just now starting to do it, or, how many ever games we've played. So that, was encouraging to see when you give Sam Howell time, that's what he can do. Like, he's legitimately a starting quarterback and can be a really good one if we give him time and if we call the right offense around him. But again, we reverted back to all passing, and we saw the effect of it. Mike, let me start with you on this next question. Before the game, during this week, we got 2 offensive linemen replaced starters. Tyler Larson became the new starting center. Bench Nick Gates. Sadiq Charles went down with an injury, so we got Chris Paul. What was your thought about the offensive line play today?
So I don't want to jump the gun and say that they're better than what we had previously, because the play calling was just that much better as far as the quick game, how I was getting the ball out quicker. The question that I have, and I'm not going to answer this because I don't break down film or anything, I want to know how much difference there was in blitz pickup today as far as calling a blitz. I want to know, was there a considerable difference?
Yeah.
Because like you said, there was only one sack, and that sack happened on a 4-man rush, I believe. Yep. Josh Sweat just gave it to Wiley. Now, I do want to give credit to Josh Sweat. Like, he's a good player. Good he's nice. But, if you would have told me a sack was given up late in the game, we only gave up one sack the whole game. It happened on the last drive. Who gave it up? Wiley. I don't get it. Yeah. So, to answer your question, I believe they did a good job, but I think they may have done better at IDing blitz pickups. And the rushing.
You're absolutely right. I've got my thoughts on the offensive line. I'll hold them for a second. Eric, offensive line play much better today. I don't think there's any 2 ways around it. Whoever you want to give the credit to, much better today. But what were your thoughts on the offensive line in particular?
I think the combination of the line play and Howell getting the ball out quicker with, a quicker pass plays being called, shorter drops, that type of thing. The interior offensive line, outside of the 2 penalties, I thought Chris Paul looked like he had a great game. Cosme held up because, the first game, those guys were just getting ragdolled by the interior of the defensive line by Philly. And that didn't seem to be the case this time. I mean, Howell took a few hits. I think he was hit 5 times total, gave, again, 1 sack, which, you take that against Philly, right? And he had 1 pass batted down where Cosme kind of got pushed back into the quarterback and got a pass knocked down. 16 carries, 84 yards. You're averaging 5 yards a rush, 5.5 yards a rush, close to it. You just chose not to rush the ball. It's unacceptable that your pass run ratio was 53-16. And Howell had 2 scrambles, so 53-14 basically was your run pass ratio. That's just unacceptable, especially when you're making plays. Robinson ripped off 2 really nice runs in the first half. He had a couple of really nice runs in the second half. He was getting 6 yards a carry almost today. But again, he only had 10 carries. you got to help your quarterback out more. And Howell did it as much as he could. I just, I like Howell. It's no secret that I like Howell. I've liked him, from the beginning, but I acknowledge it. You can't put the game on him like that. You got to help him out. There's no reason when you have an offensive line that tends to struggle. You can't drop back 53 times when you don't have to. Yeah. And it drives me nuts. I mean, the defense is struggling. You're giving up 38 points. I mean, that goes down if you hold on to the ball, if you run the ball more. It drives me nuts. But as far as the offensive line, I mean, they were much better today than they were in the first week against Philly. Obviously, they were atrocious last week. So much better overall performance, having, not really paid close attention to the offensive line, just looking at the numbers, it seemed to be much, much better.
So my thoughts on the offensive line go like this. I say it multiple times. There's a thing called pocket integrity, and that has to do with the linemen getting pushed back into the quarterback's lap. And it's been happening all season. That interior is not as good as those PFF numbers seem to suggest that they are, because those PFF numbers have them in the Hall of Fame. Not one of those guys will make a Pro Bowl. They won't even get one vote. And today they absolutely stood their ground today. They did not get pushed back. And you want to know how I know? Because the offense was able to move on time. Howell had time to step up. He had time to look over and find whoever was open, to the tune of 39 completions. So the line was absolutely better. And a lot of that is, hey, veteran center, Tyler Larson, he knows he can make the calls. He knows how to pick guys up who are blitzing. Chris Paul, absolutely strong. He's an enormous offensive lineman. Nick Gates is a very small guy in terms of offensive linemen go, right? He's right around 300, probably 290. Tyler Larson's 322 pounds. He is a bigger body, stronger guy, also a much more experienced center. And so much so, we didn't see a lot of free rushers coming up the middle of this game. And where did we see the one rusher that got loose? Off the edge, off Andrew Wiley. I mean, instantly. And that's because the Eagles do it. Hey, we're not getting through up the middle. Let's try this out on the edge. And they were rewarded. Andrew Wiley gave them that play. So the offensive line was much, much better. And Eric, you're right that there's no reason to be throwing it that much. Howell did great today, but you don't give a young quarterback who's developing putting that all on them. If we'd run it more in the second half, we'd probably control the game better, and it might have a different outcome. But it didn't. We went all pass, and I think it was maybe 5 or 6 called runs in the entire second half. Maybe
terrible.
Maybe less than that, and that's just not good enough. That's not smart football either. So that was again just Eric Bieniemy took a step forward in his development as a play caller. I like the play calling in the first half, but the second half he just reverted back to the hey, we're going to pass it all game. Defensively, let's go over there. The defense continued to let the same things beat them time and time again, and that's AJ Brown. I can't imagine they've never heard of AJ Brown. I can't imagine they forgot the beating he put on us by himself almost in that last game. Mike, what was your thoughts about how they handled or didn't handle AJ Brown in this game?
I'm sorry, for taking a minute to answer. I'm just so frustrated because I saw Forbes on him, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't understand the point of benching them or not playing them the last 2 games, only to bring them back out against the one person you shouldn't bring them out against. I understand the logic behind the Forbes pick. You wanted to generate turnovers or whatever. But look at your division, man. You don't want to put somebody that skinny against a person like AJ Brown. He's just a matchup nightmare against almost any cornerback, especially Forbes. Then on top of that, I don't care what they say about the film or whatever. Benjamin St. Juste has been getting cooked all season. We can't, I understand, it might look better on the film, or he might give up more plays than he, give up less plays than the plays that he make or whatever, but he's regressed. There's no word about it. And I'm starting to wonder if Chris Harris, the old secondary coach, I'm starting to wonder how important he was to this defense.
Yeah.
The secondary has just been awful this season.
The secondary was bad last season too.
Too.
When
Fuller
Cam Curl wasn't in
and
last season, it was
they're
terrible.
the only two that's been playing consistent. And Fuller's almost like 100 years old now. So no, I'm joking. But he came into the league as a slow cornerback. He's getting older in age. And like I think I said this last week, I still don't understand why they haven't played him at safety. I feel like he can move to safety and his career will extend at least another 4 or 5 seasons. You move him to safety. But as far as checking A.J. Brown, I don't understand it. I don't understand putting Forbes on him. You can't put St. Juice on him because he's getting cooked. And Fuller is unfortunately slower than him. So, yeah, I don't know why they just didn't bracket him the whole game, but I'm not a defensive coordinator, so what do I know?
You're exactly right. I think they should have bracketed him. You put Benjamin St. Juice on him, you slide the safety over there, do something to discourage them from throwing his way. We didn't. And whenever Jalen got in trouble, he just looked for Brown, and it was an automatic completion and big completion, 11, 12, 15 plus yards each time. So very disappointing to see. Eric, the defense, again, gave up a lot of points, a lot of yards. What do you think about their approach to this game and falling into some of the same traps over and over again?
Well, first, let's get something. I mean, A.J. Brown does that to everybody. It's not just us. That's 6 consecutive games with 125 yards. He's had multi-touchdown games, several of them this year. You could have probably survived this game had A.J. Brown been the only one to go off. But unfortunately, you just like Danny Johnson just brain farted and just let Devontae Smith run free. And then, they dusted off Julio Jones there at the end. He beat Johnson as well. So it was a group effort. The defensive line just didn't get enough pressure. Which again, I'm whoever, there's rumors about who wants to get traded, who might get traded. I don't care who you trade because they didn't.
Exactly.
It's all our defensive line is all reputation at this point. Like they're good individually, but collectively, the defensive line has been extremely underwhelming. And I don't think you're going to miss any of them if they leave, or all of them, honestly, if they leave, because you're giving up 30 points you've given up 30 points 5 times this year, and you're a bottom 5 defense probably.
Yeah.
So guess what? If any of those guys want to go, they can go. I mean, it's much more than just, what kind of coverage you play against the most dominant receiver in the NFL right now. It's just a collective, just terrible defense. It's just bad. It was interesting to see 3 linebackers out there for the majority of the game. That was new. It's a revolutionary concept. Nobody's ever considered putting 3 linebackers out there before, but yeah, it is what it is.
Well, at least not this defensive staff. They haven't considered using 3 linebackers until today. Until halfway through the season, they thought, that would be a good idea. Finally, but you're exactly right. There's something to be said for this defensive line. Whenever I read like scouting reports and stuff, there's a thing that some scouts will refer to players, especially big time players who they don't think are good. Then they refer to them as players in name only, right? Oh, this guy goes to Alabama. He's a player in name only. He doesn't actually generate, big plays. And that's what our defensive line is. They're players in name only. They've got great reputations, just like you said, Eric, but where's the production? Like Jalen Hurts was clearly hobbled in that game. Like he could not run and we could not get pressure on him. Like we just could not get any pressure on him. And that's more so hats off to the Eagles offensive line. They're just absolutely dominant and they're excellent. But as far as the production of those defensive line, I have no problems parting ways with any of them because they really just don't produce enough to equal the hype that they come with on there. Mike, to kind of wrap some of this up, coaching. What did you think about just the overall coaching? And you can go anywhere. EB, Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio. Who do we got to blame here? What are your thoughts?
It starts at the top, bro. It starts at how many times are we going to blow a double-digit lead? Like I don't understand it, man. It happened against Philly last game. We can't keep leads. I said something on Facebook earlier. We cannot beat a team like the Eagles unless we play absolute perfect football. Philly didn't play perfect football today. They were by far from perfect.
Yep.
But they have good coaching. They have good talent. They know how to use the talent.
Yeah.
Washington simply doesn't. And I'm not going to put all the blame on Bieniemy and Del Rio, even though they're not blameless today. Like I said earlier, with checking AJ Brown, they definitely Del Rio definitely should have came up with a better scheme. But it's Rivera, man. We go through this every single game. We've been going through this for the last 4 seasons. The team is inconsistent. To me, that starts with the top. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's just too old school. I don't know if he just doesn't get it. But like I said, I'm tired of it. This regime just needs to be blown to smithereens. We can't do nothing about it this season because there's no interim coach on the coaching staff to really take over. So unfortunately, y'all, we just gonna have to ride this thing out in the last 9 games. Hopefully, like I said earlier, I don't want to go to the playoffs, and with Rivera, we probably not going. But hopefully he does have a November run that extends to December this season and we fluke into the playoffs. But I don't see it, man. I just honestly, I don't want us to lose. I'm not rooting for us to lose. But if we bottom out, I wouldn't care too much because the season's over already and we're not even in November.
Oh, absolutely. Eric, what did you think about today's coaching performance? Their game plans, all of it, offense, defense, head coach.
I mean, it pretty much self-explanatory if you look at the box score. It wasn't, we didn't get the job done. Coaches didn't get the job done. Rivera didn't get the challenge flag quick enough on that Devontae Smith non-catch that, I think the next play ended up being a touchdown, or 2 plays later was a touchdown. Could have been prevented if he had just been able to get the challenge flag out, but they didn't do it. Little things like that, they just kill you. That that 4th down call that Bieniemy in the first half was one of the worst play calls I've seen this season.
Awful.
It's 4th and 1. You go empty backfield and you don't run a quarterback draw. You just send your guys out like it's 3rd down or 2nd down and 1. You don't treat it like a 4th down. Just things like that, just terrible, right? Obviously, blown coverage on the Devontae Smith touchdown. That's going to fall on coaching. I'm going to assume. Obviously, a player made a mental mistake, but coaches got to get the players prepared. So yeah, it's the coaching is C-, just like it's been all season. Nothing's really changed there. Bieniemy, again, the kudos to Bieniemy for designing a passing game that worked today, but still, you don't need a 53-14 run pass ratio. You just don't, and that's unacceptable with a young quarterback and a suspect offensive line, as well as they managed today. That there was no reason for them to be in that position. Jack Del Rio he may be gone before Ron Rivera. But I both of them are gone after this season. Both of them may be gone during this season, but Del Rio has done nothing to retain his job at this point. He's not put together. He hasn't called a good defensive game, I don't think, all season, other than bad offenses in Arizona and New York. Those are the only offenses he's held under 20 points. Are the offenses that are pretty much incapable of scoring 20 points. So there's no positive to the coaching from this game at all.
Yeah, the coaching is just simply not good enough across the board. Offense, defense, head coach. When you look at Eric Bieniemy, yeah, he finally called a game and created a game plan that fit his player strengths. Quarterback, offensive line, running backs. Like, this was the game plan that we wanted to see from game 1. It should not take you until game 8 to figure it out, and 40 sacks later to figure it out. Sam wasn't getting sacked in quick passing game or when we run the football or play action. Oh, we just figured out today that we needed to call the quick game as a majority of our offense. And that's just unacceptable. Ron Rivera being late to challenge these things, just kind of the lack of awareness there. Again, unacceptable, but it's a constant for him. Jack Del Rio, he's been here 4 years now. Like, this defense isn't any better than what we thought it was going to be. And again, 4 years now. So you guys are right. You guys hit all the same points. This coaching staff just isn't good enough. When we look around the league, there are other coaches who are designing, scheming game plans to help their players to score, to attack offenses, attack defenses. We just don't have that here. And we might get it for a game. We might get it for a half, but we're not getting it all game, and we're not getting it game in, game out. So that's just not good enough. Eric, any other thoughts? Anything you wanted to mention? Jamison Crowder had a nice little rebirth today. Anything that caught your eye in this game? I know I'm missing something here, but anything you want to talk about?
I think I've pretty much said my piece. Again, I don't care who gets traded this week. It's time for, anybody can leave, anybody can go. I just want to warn the fan base. We are heading into November. Patriots, Seahawks, Giants, Cowboys on the docket. Don't be at all surprised if we leave November with like a 6-6 record. And also don't be fooled if we leave November with a 6-6 record, because we do it every year. We come out 3-5, 3-6. Make a nice little run and then falter down the stretch. It's setting up for that exact scenario to happen. So don't be shocked at 6-6 when it's December rolls around, and also don't be shocked to finish 7-10 again. So it's a Ron Rivera type season. It's shaping up to be one, and don't believe the hype that comes out when this team starts playing well for the next few weeks.
Mike, any other thoughts about this game? Anybody who stood out to you player-wise? Just where you at? Anything?
Well, I know we talked about it already, but I really do like how the quarterback and the person. It was nice to hear before or during the game that he called the team meeting for the first time as a starter, and you like to see that from your quarterback. Yeah. So I feel like we're good at quarterback. I don't think we're going to be able to get a high draft pick to draft one of the top quarterbacks. I know Ellie has a thing with first round quarterbacks, like you got to win with a first round quarterback. At this point, Howell isn't playing any worse than the first round quarterback would have in their second year. He still has some things to learn, but if it's one thing, like I think a lot of us said it coming into the season, that if we can come out the season feeling like Sam Howell is a franchise quarterback, or at least a quarterback we can compete with, I think we'll be okay for the season. And the last thing I want to say is I'm really disappointed in Terry McLaurin, man. Really, really disappointed with him.
Him and Jahan switched bodies this game.
Yeah. It kind of sucked, and it's the one concern that I have about McLaurin. He does everything else great. Like, he is a perfect receiver, even with this one thing. He loves baddie catches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you saw it happen. You saw it today why they teach you to catch with your hands. If he catches those balls before it hits his baddie, those are 2 catches.
And you saw the touchdown catch. That was a hand catch. Reach right up and grab it.
Yeah. He explained why he does it, because he thinks it helps him catch the ball better. And I understand his logic behind it, but in some situations, man, you just got to snatch that thing out the sky to not even give it a chance to bobble. And the last thing is, screw the refs, man. Like, seriously, screw them. Not only for the challenge that shouldn't have never happened. It should have been rude to catch on the field. There's no way they saw that the ball may have hit the ground when Jahan Dotson caught it. And I saw plenty of times our defensive tackles getting held by the inside collar during the game, especially when they actually beat the lineman and was rushing towards Hurts. They definitely could tug the inside of their collar. So it is what it is. I'm just ready to blow it up. Get ready for 2024. Hopefully with a modern coach and some modern ideas.
Yeah. No, I think you guys nailed all kind of the key points and key topics there. And as far as Terry goes, those were some bad drops, but Terry's bailed us out of probably more games with incredible contested catches, big catches.
That's true.
So for him to have this one, I'll give it to him, because I've seen him make catches for games where we probably had no business winning, and we won them anyway because of a Hail Mary or something, that we threw up, a Heineke threw up to him, and we caught it at the one. So I'll
Speaking of Heineke.
Oh yeah, can we get a Heineke update here?
It's Taylor time in Atlanta. I didn't even look at what they did, but yeah, he got Ritter finally got the hook.
Yep.
And
Desmond Ritter benched. Heineke's in there. I saw some reports that he kind of sparked the offense, which I mean we know he would do. And I think in a run centric offense like that, I think Taylor will do just fine. But for this team here, the things that stood out. Yeah, Sam Howell, when you put an offense around him that caters to his strengths, and when the line gives him time, I mean, he's excellent. He's sharp. He made plays today, 4 touchdowns today. The interception, I thought Terry should have had that one. That one I thought went through Terry's hands. It was not a good day for Terry. The sack fumble, that's again, Andrew Wiley got beat instantly. And guess what? It was only 1 sack, which tells me they finally started to do something about it. And they weren't doing anything about the previous game. So, hopefully that continues, that we see that they take care of the football. And I want to see some of these younger players develop here. You guys are right. This coaching staff will be gone. This front office will be gone in the offseason, and there will be lots and lots of change. But until then, we need to see some of these players develop, some of the younger guys, some guys we haven't seen. We need to see what they look like. But good effort, but not good enough for today. Everybody, thank you for joining us. Stay tuned as we'll have the deep dive this week on the upcoming game and
the
Patriots, other team struggling greatly. So we'll see if we can't get to beat them. Everybody, we'll see you.
Peace out.